that gives the problem to coming in and believing God. But tonight I want to talk about a philosophical issue and the number one question I get asked as one, a youth leader, and two, as a teacher. But to do that, I want to introduce you to John. This happened, and this is a true story, this happened in my first year teaching in Fredericton, and I will never forget it. Now, John was a tough and rumble kid. I taught at the time, I was teaching an automotive course, and John would come in every day, and he would be covered head to toe in grease and dirt, and he just looked absolutely filthy each day. Now, this made sense because John's father owned a mechanic shop and a junk garage. So his father would make him work each day in the morning and each night when he came home. I didn't think much of this because that's the typical kids I would get in my classes. That was until one day when John didn't come in covered in grease and dirt, but he came in covered in bruises, cuts, and blood. And I remember the email that I got. It said, "Dear Mr. Kelman, please be aware that John has been experiencing difficulties at home." What had happened is John found out that his father had been diagnosed and he was terminally ill. Finding out that news, John's father went home and became incredibly drunk. An argument broke out, and John's father, after finding out this news, had actually beat John. This begged the question in my mind, if there's a God, then why does this happen? If there's a God, then why is this kid getting beat by his father? I asked myself, I said, I don't claim to be all good. I don't claim to be all powerful. I don't claim to be God. But I know that if I saw that happening, I would step in. I would stop that. So where was God? This has actually been a problem for centuries, for thousands of years. And it's actually known in philosophy as the problem of pain. Has anyone ever heard of this before as an argument against God? The problem of pain? Many believers, actually C.S. Lewis, one of my favorite writers, has a whole book dedicated to the problem of pain. Who here knows David Asher? One of the first books he published was called God in Pain. That's because the majority of our youth nowadays are suffering or they're struggling with pains and they don't know where God is in their times. So basically the problem of pain looks like this. If God is omnibenevolent, what does that mean? If he's all good and he's omnipotent, that means he's all powerful. So if he's all good and all powerful, then why does pain and why does evil exist? If God's all good and God's all loving, then should he not get rid of evil so people don't suffer? This is the problem of pain. Put another way, is if God is all powerful, all knowing, and all good, then he must have a really, really good reason for allowing evil. Otherwise, what kind of God would he be? He would be a what kind of God? Would he be a good God if he let evil for no reason? No, he would be a bad or evil God. So we can state it like this. A good and all-powerful God always eliminates evil, but such a being always eliminates evil as far as it can without the loss of a what? A greater good. Now, if he eliminated evil, but he lost a greater good, he would no longer be a good God. Does that make sense so far? Because he got rid of a greater good. So then we have to ask, is there such thing as a greater good? Is there a good reason for allowing pain or allowing evil? It says in Galatians, it is for what? Freedom. It is for freedom or freedom's sake that Christ has set us free. So why has God or Christ set us free? It is for what sake? Freedom's sake. And if we are truly free, then we should be truly free, or choose both good and evil. We can see that God is placing value on what? Freedom. Freedom is a virtue in itself that God clearly values. Does that make sense so far? We agree with that? So what is freedom? What is free will? Well, free will is the power of acting without constraint of necessity or fate. The ability to act at one's own discretion. Which means if you are truly free, then you are free to choose good, but also free to choose evil. Now let me ask you this. Is it better to have true free will or not? It is better to have free will than to not have free will. But as soon as you agree with that, there comes a risk. As soon as you have free will, you have the freedom to choose good and the freedom to choose evil. Simply put, as soon as there are two beings, you have the freedom to choose self or the freedom to choose the other. Does that make sense? C.S. Lewis, in his book, The Problem of Pain, puts it this way. From the moment a creature becomes aware of God as God, and aware of itself as self, so as soon as you are aware of two beings, you have the terrible alternative of choosing God or choosing self for the center. You see that? If you are to have true free will, then you must be able to freely choose between selfishness or other-centeredness, good or evil, pleasure or pain. Do we understand that? To choose against God is to choose against goodness itself, and to choose against pleasure itself. If God is all good and all loving, and we choose against that, then we're going to have pain and evil. Does that make sense? This is what evil and pain are. It is the choice against the all-good, all-loving God that values freedom so much that He allows you to make that choice. That is His risk. Albert Einstein, at the age of 11, says this. His teacher, actually, I would highly recommend you read this story. It's phenomenal. At the age of 11, Albert Einstein's teacher said, because evil exists, God cannot. God and evil are mutually exclusive. Either evil exists or God exists. And because evil exists, God cannot. Albert Einstein, at the age of 11, answered this to that problem. He said, evil does not exist, sir. Or at least it does not exist unto itself. Evil is simply the absence of God. It is just like darkness and cold. A word that man has created to describe the absence of God. God did not create evil. Evil is the result of what happens when man does not have God's love present in his heart. It's like the cold that comes when there's no heat, or the darkness that comes when there's no light. Evil is the absence of God, the choice against God. And you see, with this risk, why would He risk it all? Why would He risk freedom and allow you the possibility of evil? Well, because this choice, this freedom to choose between love of yourself or love of Him, is the only way that you can show true love. To have the freedom to choose love, to love yourself or to love the other, is the only thing that makes love possible. Let me give you an example. How many people here are married? How many people stood up at the altar and said, I do? Do you realize why your I do was so beautiful? Your I do was beautiful because your I don't was possible. Does that make sense? Let me ask you this. If you were standing at the altar and you looked at your wife and you're waiting for her to say, I do, but there was a guy named Vinny holding a gun to her back and said, make the right choice, sister. And she said, I do. Is that love anymore? That's forced. That negates love. So by giving her the freedom to say I do or I don't is what makes love itself possible. It's what makes true love possible. Right there. What makes love beautiful is the fact that we get to freely choose it. David Asher puts it this way. Love requires what? Freedom. But as soon as you have freedom, you have risk. If freedom were not a reality, then the ability to have true love is gone. If you didn't have freedom, then the choice to love is gone. We must have the choice to love in order for it to be love. Simply put, love requires freedom. But as soon as you have freedom, you have risk. And when you have risk, it gives you responsibility. You see the value He places on you and how much trust He has in you. This is what makes true love of God possible. You see, God had 4 options at creation. One would be to not create at all. God could have not created. Secondly, He could have created beings that were essentially robots. Beings that were not free. Beings that He would puppeteer around. Third one is that he could have created free beings, but they could only choose the options that were considered good. But let me ask you this, is that true freedom?
No.
True freedom needs to allow you to choose what is also bad. Or 4, to create beings with true freedom and free choice. Now let me ask you this, which of those 4 is the best option? If God is an all-good, all-loving God, which option is best? Which one must he give?
4.
Number 4, he must create beings that have true freedom and true choice. You see, in allowing the possibility of evil, God was allowing the only possibility of true love.
Amen.
If he didn't allow you to choose his love or give love back, it would be forced love. And do we have a nasty word in the English language for forced love? Yes. You see, and I'll repeat, in allowing the possibility of evil, God was allowing the only true possibility of you having true love. You see, that's because the answer to the problem of pain is not found in a philosophical argument. The answer to the problem of pain was found on a man hanging from a cross. Thank you.
Amen.